Thanksgiving is like right around the corner, so let's dive into some of my favorite vegan Thanksgiving recipes. We're gonna start with entrees because I understand that that is the most difficult thing for people to figure out, how to replace a turkey or a ham when you're plant-based, or you wanna have a plant-based option that is just as filling and is like a centerpiece. Let me just tell you right now, the vegan entree items that I'm going to share with you right now are far more delicious than any turkey or any ham ever was. Okay, mic drop, I said it. Let's jump into it. First up is this mushroom Wellington. It is a portobello mushroom encased in minced, spiced baby bella mushrooms that are then wrapped in a flaky puff pastry. It does take a long time to make this dish, but for people like me who love to cook, this will be right up your alley. This dish is elegant, it is flavorful, it's got a meaty filling, and it will impress your guests whether they're vegan or meat eaters. It is just so rich and full of flavor, and it's definitely worth the time that it takes to prepare. This lentil meatloaf has been one of the most popular recipes on Sweet Potato Soul every holiday season since I first posted it years ago. That's because it is so full of flavor and great texture, made with lentils and walnuts and shredded vegetables and tons of spices. This one can be a little bit time consuming because there's so much prep of the vegetables, so I recommend what I do. I use my food processor to help me chop and shred all of the vegetables because it comes together so much easier that way. This lentil meatloaf gives you the same home style, grandma's kitchen vibe as a traditional meatloaf, but it's made with wholesome ingredients. I think a Thanksgiving main should be elegant and impressive, so this whole cauliflower piccata is right up the alley. Not only is it a whole cauliflower, so it looks beautiful on your table and you can slice it and it's just so pretty, but it's also made with this creamy piccata gravy that has a lemony and salty finish thanks to the lemon juice and capers. This pairs really well with your Thanksgiving meal, brightening up the whole table and just brightening up every bite. I love this recipe so much. I've been making it for years and I think it's gonna help you wow your guests for sure. And I have to give you a very simple, easy, vegan Thanksgiving main dish, y'all. These pan-fried mushrooms are it. They are it. They are so easy to make and yet so absolutely succulent and delicious. You guys know I love mushrooms, and these pan-fried mushrooms require almost no preparation at all. You've got to mince up some garlic, but you're not even going to do much to the mushrooms because, at least for me, I like keeping them as intact as possible. So that means you're not having to chop them or mince them or slice them, but instead you're just pan frying them whole, and it makes a beautiful centerpiece to your Thanksgiving table. And for the people who feel like they're gonna miss meat, these mushrooms will make you forget all about the turkey. You might have noticed a new type of content here on Sweet Potato Soul. I recently started a podcast called Don't Say Vegan. So far, the interviews have ranged from talking to my grandmother to interviewing my daughter's pediatrician about children's health. We've even talked about breath work and mindfulness and fitness, menopause, perimenopause, and incredibly important nutritional questions like the importance of fiber. You can find Don't Say Vegan here on the Sweet Potato Soul channel or wherever you get your podcasts. Now let's move on to the side dishes because you, me, and everybody we know knows Thanksgiving is really about the sides anyway, isn't it? Yes, for sure. Should we start with the collard greens? Okay, let's start with the collard greens, y'all. My collard greens have been some of the best collard greens on the internet for over a decade. I love this recipe so much because I combine acid from the tomatoes, but I bring out that smoky goodness of the best grandma's collard greens using soy sauce and smoked paprika. Y'all, those two together, they're trouble. Good trouble, of course. They're so good. But these collard greens are pretty easy to make. You cook them like you would any collard greens, cooking them down in a big pot until they get tender and juicy and release their liquid and it combines. And trust me on this one. You can look at the comments under this recipe. This is very popular. People have been making it for years. People come back to it every year at Thanksgiving and New Year's Day because these collard greens are it. And you can't have Thanksgiving, y'all, without mac and cheese. Ain't that right? So I make my mac and cheese using butternut squash. I like that it has a little hint of sweetness, but I give it that cheesy, umami, rich feeling as well from using nutritional yeast. This is a mac and cheese that has no nuts, because y'all, I'm allergic to cashews, so this is completely nut-free, but it is so rich and silky and creamy, and everybody loves it. The two foods that come together that I'm most excited about this Thanksgiving though, mashed potatoes and gravy. I love mashed potatoes and gravy. It's one of my favorite foods in the whole wide world. And I think I have the best mushroom gravy recipe. I'm just saying, I think mine is the best. It's made with baby bella mushrooms and taken to the next level with porcini mushroom powder. That sounds fancy, but y'all, it's so easy to just buy on Amazon, and a little bit goes a long way. You will have it for years and it will amp every dish you put it on, especially this mushroom gravy. Now, how do you make the best vegan mashed potatoes? I've got a little secret to make them fluffy and light, and that is, well, there's two things. First off, you boil your potatoes with cold water to start. Don't add them to the boiling water. Instead, add them to cold water and bring them to boil on the stove all together. That allows the potatoes to soften without getting waterlogged. The second step is to, of course, make sure you boil them with the skin on. Again, that's avoiding that waterlogging, gooey mashed potato texture. And the third thing that I swear by for the fluffiest vegan mashed potatoes is I mash them with a whisk, like a whisk that you use for baking. Use that as a potato masher. It's gonna make for the lightest potatoes without overworking their starches. Because if you overwork the starches by like blending them and just like obliterating them too quickly, then they'll get gummy. But using a whisk allows them to get mashed, but also allows them to take on air and become fluffy and light. And it's my favorite way to make mashed potatoes and gravy. Candy yams, you gotta have the candy yams. I've got a great recipe that's a little bit cleaner than my grandma's recipe. I don't put as much sugar or as much vegan butter, but they're still absolutely delicious. And if you wanna amp them up a little bit, still follow this recipe, but maybe add a little bit more sugar and a little bit more butter. But this recipe is your starting point for the best candied yams, okay? I personally love to have a ton of vegetables on my Thanksgiving table. Everybody loves really good roasted vegetables. So I've got two for you. First off, if you like beets, you've got to try these roasted beets and carrots. Not only are they roasted together so that you don't have to take up a lot of space in your oven, but they're spiced with cumin seeds, which are surprising. Their crunch releases this like burst of cumin flavor that pairs so well with these carrots and beets. I highly recommend it. And you can garnish it with parsley or cilantro or dill or whatever you've got in your garden or whatever you've got on hand. Roasted vegetables are so easy to make and they really help fill in your table. So you've also got to try my smoky maple roasted Brussels sprouts and carrots. This combo is a match made in heaven, and that smoky maple sauce that goes over them takes them to the next level. So you are using up your oven right now, right? We've got the roasted vegetables, but what if you want more roasted vegetables, but you don't want to have to put more stuff in the oven? Then pull out your air fryer and make these air fryer green beans. Y'all, this has long been one of the most popular recipes on Sweet Potato Soul all year long, surprisingly. And I like to serve it over my pecan muhammara, which is a red pepper sauce that will literally knock your guest's head off. It is so flavorful, and it's got like some tartness from pomegranate molasses with the richness of the roasted peppers and the amazing texture and butteriness of the pecans. Like my favorite sauce of all time. Okay, so put the air fryer green beans on top of that. It's gonna blow away your whole table, like in a good way. I have a great air fryer carrot recipe, but it's actually two different recipes rolled in one. I give a savory and a sweet option. If your Thanksgiving menu is already filled with a lot of savory roasted vegetables, I would recommend trying the sweet glazed air fryer carrots. They're so easy to make and they're very, very delicious, and they just feel like they should be on a Thanksgiving table. Let's move on to dessert, shall we? That's my favorite part of the meal. You know I gotta start it off with, say it with me, sweet potato pie. I love sweet potato pie. It's one of my favorite foods in the world. I always make two so I can have one just for myself because I'm greedy. But this vegan sweet potato pie, I perfected almost, no, like literally over a decade now. Yeah, it's been a decade. I've been making the same recipe and it is still the #1 I've ever tried. I mean, it tastes just like my grandmother's sweet potato pie. So make it. It's great. I love it. I love you. That's why I shared it. Pecan pie is my other favorite type of pie. And guess what? Mine has a very secret, not so secret ingredient. Sweet potatoes, but it's not a sweet potato pecan pie. No, not by any means. Instead, I use sweet potato to replace the egg because you know, these pies are like custard pies and egg pies, really. So how do you replace them in a vegan recipe? In the pecan pie, you use sweet potato. That will give you a moist, tender, perfectly set pecan pie filling without an overly sweet potato flavor. Nobody will know it has sweet potatoes in it. And if you prefer a chocolate pecan pie, your girl's got you covered with that too. I've got both recipes, and if it was me, which it will be me, I'm making all the pies that I mentioned in this video. So next up, vegan pumpkin pie. My vegan pumpkin pie is a mix of pumpkin, sugar pumpkin, and butternut squash. That combo is a match made in heaven because the butternut squash has an earthier, sweeter taste than sugar pumpkin, so it really amps up the pumpkin pie. If you're someone who thinks you don't like pumpkin pie, I only like sweet potato pie, you will like my pumpkin pie, okay? I got two options for you for the apple pie. A classic apple pie, and I put a little cardamom in there because, you know, I like to spice it up, or an apple crisp. The apple crisp is like an easier version of the apple pie and a little bit healthier as well because it's made with a crumbly oat-based topping. It's so much easier to make. You just sprinkle the topping on top rather than having to make your own pie dough from scratch, which is actually not that hard. But take your pick. They're both delicious. If you want an apple dessert, these are the two for you to try. And if you are doing like a really healthy Thanksgiving, you just want a bunch of healthy stuff, then may I recommend my sweet potato bars with a gingerbread crust. I love this recipe. They don't taste healthy, but they are very nutritious. Made with sweet potatoes and sweetened with maple syrup, and the crust has nuts and dates in it. So a lower glycemic, more nutrient dense Thanksgiving option, and also great for potlucks. All these are great for potlucks for sure. I wasn't sure if I should add some drinks, so I added just 3 drink options that if you want to have a really fancy Thanksgiving and not just, you know, not just have a bunch of wine and beer and stuff, but something like a little bit like I made this for y'all too. Try this apple cider sangria. It is so fall vibes and cozy and very, very, very tasty. It's nice to have when your guests are entering, just arriving. You could put it in a pitcher or even a, you know, like a punch bowl and let them serve themselves. If you're in the mood to make cocktails, then I highly recommend this pomegranate margarita. I love a margarita, and pomegranates in a margarita, even better, especially for Thanksgiving. And if you want to give them something a little special, but you know you ain't got time to make cocktails and stuff, and maybe you can have them make it themselves, try a pomegranate Aperol spritz. That's pomegranate juice with Aperol and bubbly, you know, champagne. That is a really nice cocktail that's refreshing and bright and feels very festive without you having to do a ton of work. I hope you guys will try these recipes. Let me know which ones you are making. But guess what? If you're still a little confused, I don't know which to make, I'm overwhelmed, I have no idea, then take the Thanksgiving quiz that I created. It will take just 1 minute. The link is down below. 1 minute, a few questions, and I'm gonna pair you with your perfect Thanksgiving recipe. All the recipes mentioned in this video will also be linked and on my blog, so check that out down below. If you want even more Thanksgiving recipes, may I introduce you to both of my cookbooks. People have been using Sweet Potato Soul, my first cookbook, since 2018 to find their perfect Thanksgiving recipes. Now, if you're looking for more eclectic, more colorful, and maybe less traditional, but still soulful vegan recipes for Thanksgiving, then you've got to check out my new cookbook, Vegan Vibes. But listen, I recommend you buying both. And don't forget the holidays are right around the corner. These books make perfect Christmas presents. Ding. Thanks so much for watching this video. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.